Hi, welcome to the next episode of Maximum Human Performance. I'm your host, human performance expert, Brad Valancourt. Today we're going to break down the top 20 things that high achievers struggle with. I mean, we're talking about the young ones, the young high achievers who just want everything in life, and yet, boy, they really struggle in certain areas where they really don't need to. So if you're one of them, or if you know somebody who is going through something like this, these are going to help. These are going to be some signs that you can take a look at and figure out, okay, are these guys struggling, and why are they struggling? Because it's not always apparent. A lot of times, these high achievers, they go and hide somewhere to do their thinking, or they can be somebody who's just completely stone-faced all the time, and you can't tell. And that's all right. I'm going to help you break those down today with the top 20. Number 20. High achievers always feel like they're alone. They're stuck in their own heads, and it's really tough for them to figure out, okay, who is paying attention to me, who is not. And when they feel alone, sometimes they need that so that they can figure their shit out. Other times, they need some people around them, but they don't know how to ask. So if you know somebody, or if you're that person, and you want to make sure that you get everything that you can, if you're feeling alone, you need some support, ask for it. You've got to ask for it. Because people aren't going to be able to read your mind, right? Number 19, they always feel like they have to prove themselves, right? If you've ever been in this situation, I know I have, where you're constantly trying to feel like, okay, I have to prove myself, prove my worth to a team, or to my work, to the people that trust me. You're always having that in the back of your head. And when you are a high achiever, got to have a lot more confidence in yourself, especially at the younger stages, so that you can develop more and more confidence and not have to go through this all the time, or as often as you may be going through it right now, or something that right? Think about it. If you are going through this right now, how much does that suck, right? If you want, you can follow along with what former FBI agent Chris Voss says. Chris Voss writes in his book, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go in a group, go with a team. And that's true in every aspect of life, right? If you want to go far, go with people. So open up to people, allow them to come into your life to help you out, so that you're not alone, so that you're not fighting this all by yourself. Without proper feedback, you have no idea how good you're doing, right? And you need to have feedback from yourself, but also from those that you trust. Not just from anybody, because that's going to get you so confused. And high achievers, right, you don't want to be confused. It could be hell getting out of that too. You have to know that you are good enough, and you're good enough for yourself because you're the one giving it your all. If you're not giving it your all, then be honest with yourself and figure out why that is, right? Is it because of some fears going on? Is it because of some self-sabotage, some patterns? Whenever things get a little bit tough, then you check out. Well, what good is that? Right? High achievers don't do that. They continue to give it their all. Doesn't matter who is being compared with you. It doesn't matter. What does matter is that you are doing your best for what you can handle at that particular time in your life. Hugely important. Remember that. One concept that's really popular these days is FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. And some high achievers, they've got that issue. They're struggling because they are focusing on what they want to do, and they want to do this. They got a goal, whatever that goal is. Maybe it's personal, maybe it's for their team. They know that they have to practice. Maybe it's in their work, and they know that in order to have that breakthrough, they need to keep functioning, keep focusing on what they've got to do, so that they can do the wonderful things in the future and have this breakthrough. But that breakthrough won't happen until they get through all these other things first. But that doesn't mean that they're going to miss out. They're going to miss out on a few things. Maybe hanging out with some friends. Maybe it means hanging out with family at certain times. Maybe it's a matter of missing out on some important things that are important to other people but not important to you. So you've got to figure it out, what it is that is important to you, so that you can figure it out and say, yes, I can do this, but I'll have to miss this. You don't have to miss everything. But you do want to make sure that you get that time in that you need, so that you can accomplish your goal. Otherwise, you're going to feel empty, because what will happen is You'll do something for somebody else while regretting on the inside, and that regret just festers inside. It gets worse and worse. Next thing you know, you're yelling at people for absolutely no reason at all because you didn't do yourself the justice by doing what you needed to. It seems rather small when we look at single events, but these events will build up, and if you have to miss a few, you have to miss a few. You're a high achiever, you've got these goals, it's okay. If it's an important goal to you, then do it. You don't want to have anything festering inside you afterwards. Now, as we've been talking about go, 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 the important thing is you've got to know when you need to back off, right? When you back things off so that you can prepare yourself for the bigger things in life, the bigger things that you're trying to accomplish, then that's going to be huge for you, right? When I was working with athletes who were trying to break national records, we had to know when to peak and when to back off, right? It was really important for peaking at times like the nationals, right? You want to peak then. You don't want to peak before that and then have downhill afterwards because you've got nothing left in the tank. And as a high achiever, whether you're in business or you're an athlete, you've got to make sure that you know when to peak. If you've got a major event happening in your work, maybe it's a merger, maybe you're selling, then you're going to want to make sure that, hey, you know what, it's going to be doing this at a very busy time for work, for my company, so I'm going to have to make sure that I am there for that I am at my peak. Now, if you're not a high achiever, but you are the parent of one or the spouse of one, then you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that they feel guilty taking time off, right? They want to go, go, go all the time. And the problem is it makes them weaker. They're training hard but not smart. They are working hard but not smart at all. And you've got to be there for them and let them know, hey, look, it's going to cost you too much to go and do all of this, so let's back off a little bit. Maybe you need some help. Maybe you need to hire somebody, right? You need to hire some help, like an assistant, to take care of the things that you don't need to take care of anymore because it's remedial stuff. You've got to focus in on the big picture stuff, right? That big picture stuff is what's going to help get you up to that next level and higher. Make sure you do that. Get the help that you need and don't feel guilty about it because, hey, this is about building. And you've got to do what you can, not do everything because it's not going to work. It's going to keep you down, way down. Get somebody else to do the laundry, get somebody else to clean the house, right? Hire these things out. If it means getting some salespeople to help you out with the sales, that's great. Do that too. You can still be a part of what you need to, but only be a part of the big picture stuff. The big picture stuff is what's really going to matter for you and your business. You know, like there came a time when I had to take some time off because I didn't take care of the things that I needed to take care of by taking smaller chunks of time off, like vacations, for a long time. I'm talking almost a decade. And I felt so burnt out. I don't want you to feel burnt out because that's not going to help you out. You are not going to get anywhere if you feel burnt out, right? You're going to be super sluggish. So what I did was I took the time off that I needed. I traveled for a little bit, came back, totally refreshed, and man, I had some fantastic ideas that propelled me 2 and 3 levels higher because I took that time off. And it doesn't take very much. It's okay to take that time off. Really, you'll be much clearer, you'll be far more refreshed, and that focus is gonna be laser. All right, we're at number 15 already. Now, if you're a high achiever and you have a tough time getting any kind of social support in what you're doing, maybe what you're doing is completely like out of left field, and that's okay. It's okay because you've got to surround yourself with the people who are willing to be with you, who are willing to support you. By doing that, you're going to have a lot more help, emotional help, psychological help, mental help. You won't feel so alone all the time. And these might be people who are in the same niche that you are, or maybe there's people that are in a relative niche and they just understand the difficulties that you're going through because they're an entrepreneur too, or maybe they've just finished going through their own tough times and hey, they're there for you. You want to surround yourself with as many of these people as you can who are the cream of the crop, right? And many of the top people in the world of business, they talk about who you hang around with right? The top 5 people that you hang around with are going to be the ones that influence you the most. So why not surround yourself with the best people that you can? The very best. It's totally worth it. It's helped me out so much over the years. And I appreciate them every single day. You will too. Now be careful, if you're a high achiever and you like coping mechanisms, that's not going to help you out. If you know of high achievers, and you got to watch out for these people with these coping mechanisms, and that can be anything that basically withdraws them from where they really need to be, what they really need to be focusing in on, and basically they'll just check out. You don't want that. The longer they check out, the harder it is for them to come back in, right? The more times they check out, the tougher it is for them to come back in. And maybe it's binge watching TV. Maybe it's all about playing video games, right? It could be drinking, it could be doing any kind of drug, whatever it is. I had this football player. He really wanted to go in and play NCAA. And yet he had this huge amount of coping mechanism going on that he just didn't know that if it was going to be good for him or bad for him. So he asked me, he says, "What are your thoughts on marijuana?" And I said to him, it really doesn't matter what it is that you're using, it's why you're using it. What's your intention? What's your intention of doing anything? If your intention is to be on the positive side, to do something good for you, for humanity, then great. But if it's to shy away from something that you need to attack, if it's to hide from anything, or it's to basically shut down, then no matter what it is, it's not right for you. And right then and there, it clicked. Sometimes when it comes to a high achiever, they have to deal with some mental issues, right? They just get so burnt out, the wiring in their brain gets all overwhelmed and just shuts down, or they just go into a breakdown, right? They may go and hide and cry for a few hours in order to let go of some things that they've been holding on to. You've got to watch out for these people, nurture these people, let them know that they're going to be okay. Let them know that they are the best that they can be, and that's what's important. All right? Make sure that they know that. If you are the high achiever, make sure that you know that by you telling yourself. If you need to go for a cry, if you need to go and do something to let go, then definitely let go. Let go as quickly and as often as you need to. You're going to have far more clarity, and hey, that burden, those shoulders being like this, will come way down. You'll love it. Now also make sure that your high achievers are breathing properly. They don't inhale properly. They don't get enough oxygen to the brain. That will cause a lot of mental issues as well. So always do that. Always make sure that you're breathing properly. And when it comes time for the physical problems, which is the next number that we're going to deal with here, right? Health problems, physical health problems. If you don't exhale far enough, if you don't get out all the junk that's in your lungs, then it's going to build up. All that CO2 waste products and toxins, they're going to build up, and that's going to create some physical problems, right? If you're holding on to this stuff, to hypertension and whatnot, going like walking around like this, what good is that, right? High achievers, you've got to be in good physical condition so that you can be the best that you can, not only for yourself, but for whoever it is that you're trying to help, whatever it is that you're trying to help. Now, sometimes when it comes to high achievers, time management is a huge thing, right? You're trying to do too much and trying to squeeze all this stuff in this tiny little time box. What good is that? Oh, I grew up doing that kind of stuff. It was awful. I was late for everything until I figured out that time management means only doing what's absolutely most important and allowing other people to do what they've got to do to finish it off for you, or just don't take on that stuff. Right? Don't take on every project just because you think you can. Take on the important projects that are going to mean something. If it only means a little bit, then it's not top priority for you. Dealing with top priority things, it will change your life. It's amazing. And when you deal with things like, there's Body Talk, for instance. Body Talk is a wonderful tool that I use, and it only deals with whatever is top priority. Somebody could have some anxiety issues, and it may not be coming from something mental. It might be something emotional. It might be something that is physical from, it's something that they learned when they were a child. gotta break away from these things. Break away quickly. Now maybe you're like Devin. Devin is a super high achiever. Man, this guy is running his own company. He's got, dozens of employees that he has to deal with, plus clients on top of that. And this guy works 7 days a week. I mean, just phenomenal what this guy does. And he's been doing it for a long time. Thankfully, we've been able to help him out in certain areas of his life so that he doesn't have to work 7 days a week anymore. But on top of that, this guy would have social anxiety for anything, work-related, personal-related. I mean, it didn't matter. Trying to talk to clients, forget it. I mean, he would clam up and not say what he wanted to say and be really tough for him to get new appointments. When it came time for his social life, nobody wanted to be around him because he was so socially awkward. He couldn't stand being around himself, let alone being around other people. So make sure that you get to the root cause of why that is, and you're going to find out that, hey, life can be so much happier. I can trust a lot more people, and on top of that, I can make a lot more money just like he did. He doubled his revenue in such a short time. It's incredible what this guy's done for himself. I'm so happy. Next one we're going to talk about is burnout. Oh my gosh, burnout. How many times does that happen, right? You think you've got everything going, you're just going to plug away, and you promise yourself, you just plug away until the end comes, and the end never comes. You just end up putting yourself into other situations so that it's more and more burnout. And it's awful. You don't want to deal with the burnout. What's that going to do for you, right? So stop yourself before the burnout. Allow yourself to give you for that break, that breather. Bring in some temporary help if you need to. Do whatever it takes to avoid that burnout, because that's stepping over the edge off the cliff, and it's a long way back up. It's awful. Right? Know your limits, which is really hard for high achievers. It's tough for them to know limits within these limits when it comes to people, these limits when it comes to work, when it comes to themselves. But you've got to learn these boundaries because they can be flexible. You just got to know how to work them. Now, sometimes high achievers have a tough time when it comes to the pressure, the amount of pressure that they're under, and they just can't hack it. Well, here's the thing to think about. Who's putting on the pressure? If you're putting the pressure on yourself, then you got to figure out why that is. Is that because you're trying to be like somebody else? Is that because you're trying to keep up with somebody else or with another company? When in reality, you need to keep up with yourself and what you can handle, right? You're always going to be good enough for yourself. You just got to know that when you give it your all, you're giving it your all, not the expectation of anybody else, no matter who they are. And that leads us to the next one, imposter syndrome, right? A lot of people, when it comes to trying to achieve their best, they see themselves modeling after somebody else, which is totally fine to emulate. But know that it's an emulation. You're not putting yourself into what the other person has achieved and then automatically expect that to happen. If you automatically expect these things to happen, you're going to be let down because they've had their own trials and tribulations to get to where they are, and you've got to go through your own as well. You've got to go through your own. You can't expect what other people have achieved and you to automatically get there. It can be easier because you've seen it done once before, but it doesn't mean it's automatically going to happen. Think of somebody who has really succeeded in their endeavor. Right? Think of that person right now. Can you see yourself going through exactly what they went through? Every aspect of their life? Probably not. And don't expect that of yourself. It's just unfair to you, and it will lead you down a very dark path. All right, perfectionism. How many people struggle with that, right? Everything's got to be just right, just so. I've got to put this stuff on the table and have it look at such a certain angle and have it be right there. I mean, I've seen that, and it's not right. All you're going to do is slow yourself down compared to where you really can be, right? Because if you are afraid to take imperfect action, then that's going to be tough. Because life is not meant to be perfect in these straight lines. It's meant to have some flavor, and if you can't dance with that, it's it's going to be tough. You're going to have a real tough time trying to stay afloat, let alone skyrocket your growth, right? And the number one thing is fear of failure. When it comes to failure, we're all going to have it at some point, right? How many times do we stumble? And I'm sure you've heard this a lot. It's not how many times you fall down, but you getting back up again. And the last time that we don't get up, well, then we're 6 feet under. And what's really important is that not that we get back up because we know we're going to, but it's how quickly we can get back up, bounce back up off the ground. The longer we stay down, the harder it is to get back up again. Think about it. The quicker that you have fallen and then you try to bounce yourself back up again, you got momentum. There's still some momentum there. But if you stay down, that momentum gets dissipated and it's gone. So make sure that when you do fall, because everybody will, you get right back up again, no matter how many times. And not only get back up as fast as you can, but with the same attitude as you did before you fell, right? You go in with that consistency of, okay, I'm back up, let's go. All right, I'm back up, let's go. All right, I'm back up, let's go. Thank you so much. And make sure you save this so that you have it for when you are feeling this way or somebody that you know who's struggling through this stuff. You can send it right to them and they'll thank you for it. I know I do.